Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Woody Comic Roundup. We've made it through half of this week's roundup. Now it's going to keep on going and start things off with Alien number 3. So, where we left off, Zasha, under the guise of Yutani employee Cole, had returned to the ice moon of LV 695, but with a Yutani crew who were looking for the USCSS Boreas, which they found. Zasha went off on her own to find Cole, or the no, sorry, she's Cole, but to find Dayton, the artificial person who basically served as her father figure growing up on LV 695. So, at the Boreas, the retrieval team is working on, retrieving the Boreas, which is filled with xenomorphs, and, they've gotten loose. As they begin attacking the retrieval ships, however, one of the strange giant white xenomorphs attacks. Meanwhile, back at the station, Zasha and Dayton are reunited. Apparently, Dayton has hooked himself up to the power supply to keep himself powered. However, their reunion is cut short, namely Zasha's plans to rescue Dayton, or save Dayton, when Mr. Yutani shows up. And it should be noted also that Joan Yutani has also arrived on LV 695 to ensure the success of the Boreas recovery. So, back in 2168, at the Cloudly mining colony, the synth that came to check on one of the synths that came to check on the xenomorph is destroyed by the xenomorph. However, scientist one manages to tries to calm it down. The retrieval ships have regrouped to recover the Boreas. They begin getting it out of. They manage to pull it out of the water. However, Joan Yutani reveals part of Dayton's past. He was a research synth at the Cloudly mining colony. He's the one that took pity on the xenomorphs and seemingly freed them. In the present, the Boreas is swarming with xenomorphs, both inside and outside. Both the outside seems to largely be the white versions. One of the retrieval ships tries shooting them off, but there's more against doing so because they don't need to, make the Boreas less and less spaceworthy. But one of the xenomorphs begin climbing up the basically the cables that have the ships are using to pull the Boreas out. One of the xenomorphs gets blasted off, and well, gets blasted off with a personal weapon, and well, that acid blood, you know, yeah, those cables aren't designed to withstand it. The gunner ends up falling into the water, and the xenomorphs dive in after. So apparently, in the past, Dayton was was fairly badly injured by the xenomorph he tried to free. But Yutani points out that Dayton is within Yutani property, and that in his memory banks he possesses intellectual property belonging to the company, and so Yutani is not leaving without Dayton. But Zasha is not having it, though Yutani backhands her away. But Dayton expresses concern over Zasha, and Yutani asks where Dayton's concern was for the humans back on Cloudley. After all, it was a Whaling Yutani facility, and well, Jun saw the logs. The salvage of the Boreas does not go well, and in fact, the Boreas ends up crashing back into the water and awakening a rather large creature from the depths of would appear to be the extremely large xenomorph that was shown in the Alien Annual, and that is where the issue ends. Okay, all right. I didn't see the twist on Dayton's past coming. That was kind of a surprise. I figured that that particular that particular storyline was just kind of was going to relate to experiments being done upon xenomorphs on LV-695, but guess not. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Star Wars number 42. So, before Dark Droids, Luke Skywalker had to get his lightsaber repaired. And he didn't yet know how to build a new one. However, on Chrysopsis, he managed to find someone who could help him with that. And he was given 2 kyber crystals, a green one, which could be presumed he used for the lightsaber he ends up building, and a red one. The idea being that the red ones can be healed. And so Luke focused on it and encountered a Sith inside and was promptly expelled. And so the issue begins with Luke arriving on a planet in the Outer Rim, finding the Feminazi Greta, who had helped him on Chrysopsis. But he basically wants to know how to basically cleanse the red crystal. That said, Greta knows a little bit about it, but not much. However, her auntie comes in and she's a local healer. She does know. She's told, well, everything Greta knows about it, she learned from her auntie. There's a lot that Greta's auntie didn't tell her. That said, Greta's auntie is slightly force sensitive, but she had better things to do than with her life than focus on learning how to use the force. She points out that becoming adept in the force is a path for obsessives. But so long as Luke isn't hurting anyone else, that's fine. You know, that's the path he's chosen. But she gives him some warning about the red crystal, about how a dark side will basically pour all of their pain and anguish into it, making every red crystal unique and requires a particular journey through the maze of memories and hurt to heal it. But one must be careful, otherwise not to get lost, and otherwise they may end up trapped. But Luke leaves. As he's leaving, however, Greta gets him to come back in, and Greta and her auntie basically set things up so that he can try and heal it. And so Luke travels into the crystal, ends up what appears to be a Sith necropolis, facing the dark giant inside that he faced previously. He states that he'll be removed. Luke draws his lightsaber, and everyone else draws theirs, and the Sith kind of basically takes him down and then tosses him into a dungeon. Apparently, this is not the first time someone's tried to heal this particular crystal. The last one, it was a Jedi that became the court fool, and then apparently the funniest thing he did was climb up the battlements and threw himself up from the roof. But Luke tries to explain to the Sith that dark doesn't have to be forever. So she tells her guards that Luke's confused, strange fancies overtake his reason, and he needs a lesson in reality, and so the guards have been beating him up. Greta's concerned about Luke inside the crystal. Her auntie says, "Hey, things should be fine. And there's no reason for concern." While inside the crystal, Luke's getting his ass kicked. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting. The story will obviously be continued in the next issue. But basically, we're taking care of this before moving on to Lando's trial. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Star Wars Bounty Hunters, number 42. The last issue of the series. So, where we left off, Valance had managed to get a copy of his memories thanks to thanks to the aid of one of the officers who was working under him while he was still working for Vader. But he has one thing he needs. But he tells his crew one thing he needs to take care of. So the issue opens at Jabba's palace. A Snippet and a Trandoshan are asking Jabba to mediate a problem between the two of them. Jabba finds in favor of the Trandoshan. And then Valance shows up. Makes a mess of things. Which leads Jabba to basically put a 50,000 credit bounty on stopping Valance. Which no one really gets to collect. But Valance wants to talk to Jabba's secret droid. Jabba points out that Valance is kind of bounty on an endangered species, and Boba Fett attack, and Valance fight it out. Valance is eventually knocked out, and awakes at the Mos Espa Grand Arena. What's happening is that Valance is informed that he is basically going to test a new weapon of Jabba's, old Trade Federation Mega Droid. Well, the Pike Syndicates also watch. It's explained that there's a brief period where Jabba attempted to find the memory core of Ajax Sigma to basically be at the heart of the Mega Droid, but never got it. Anyways, there are some weapons handy, so Valance, as well as a Gungan shield. But Valance does what he can to get to stand against the Mega Droid. And Tonga and Losha, Zuckuss and 4LOM show up, providing backup. The armor of the Mega Droid, however, seems to be a bit tough even for Tonga's blaster rifle. But the other syndicates, it's not just the Pikes watching, but one of the other syndicates, including the one that Tasu Leech works for. Tasu believes that the giant droid that the Mega Droid is doomed, that it's facing Valance, and Valance is actually able to take down the droid. And so Valance has a message to the rebels saying, "Hey, we took care of Jabba's guard dog, so you know that should make it easier for you to rescue Han." But the crew head off with Tonga and Losha ending up on the moon of Logal Rai a week later, basically planning to make a community for bounty hunters, including a tavern and basically a refuge, as she puts it, as Losha puts it, a refuge for scoundrels like them. And basically see various other characters continuing on their lives. Vakora continuing on her love cats. Tasu Leech being Tasu Leech. Zuckuss and 4LOM continue to work together. Bosk, the crew that Bosk betrayed our primary crew for. But with Bosk thinking that maybe they chose wrong. It turns out that the money issue of making a community for bounty hunters is not too much of a problem, as it seems that Cadelia has offered to help. Then on at the Belconnen spaceport in the Outer Rim, Lieutenant Hayden is stopped by Imperials, seemingly about to be taken into custody, when Valance saves her. Hayden points out that the Empire will be after both of them, and So what are they going to do now? He says he has no idea, but there's a galaxy of possibilities out there. Why not figure it out together? And that is where the series ends. What I read of this book was honestly a lot of fun. Now this isn't the end of Galactic Fringe-based Star Wars comics. I think in March there's an upcoming Jango Fett miniseries, so that, or maybe it's just maybe it might be an ongoing. I'm not certain. We'll find out. But yeah, it's a good book. I enjoyed it. I look forward to whatever ends up replacing it. And to me, this kind of shows a sign that the Marvel Star Wars comics are actually moving towards, getting to Return of the Jedi and then figuring out where to go after that. Moving on, though, to our last book for the week, we've got Cobra Commander, #1. We've met the Transformers, Autobots, and Decepticons. We've met Duke, as well as General Clayton Hawk Abernathy, and a few other luminaries of the G.I. Joe side of things. Now it's time to meet the man himself. So the issue opens with the preview pages that we've been seeing since last month. Old Snake walks into a bar called No Man's Land, needing a vehicle. One of the patrons mocks him, and so Old Snake, Cobra Commander, goes outside and kills the guy and takes his, I guess, best way to put it would be family-size King Cab snowmobile. And drop. We then get a flashback to Cobra Commander's past in Cobra Law. Yes, Cobra Law. So, for those who may be unaware, Cobra Law was introduced in the animated G.I. Joe movie from the 1980s. It's basically a more mystical society. Snake, largely focused on snakes. They use biotech. They're ruled by the ruler of Cobra Law is a being known as Globulus, and it turned out that Cobra Commander was a native of Cobra Law, and he was sent out to the world to herald basically Cobra Law's takeover of the entire world. But they're, like I said, it's biotech, scientifically advanced. And so, but there appears to be a revolution brewing. Some scientists are the target of what's going on, and one of them suggests a retreat. However, Cobra Commander shoots him. And he has some weapons to use against the people breaking into the lab. But Cobra Commander is badly injured, and they are healed before being brought before Globulus by Pythona and a couple of the I can't remember what their guards were called, but Globulus claims that Cobra Commander has perverted Cobra Law by using technology. But he puts it to good use against some of the guards. He says, hey, look, this is what these can do. And so, let him, promote him within Cobra Law, and let Cobra Commander engage on a special mission into the outside world, which is granted. Before leaving Cobra Law, however, Cobra Commander visits Megatron, the source of the technology he's been using. Apparently, it seems Megatron is missing more than just one arm. Both arms appear to be removed, but he's in his robot form. Also, he's managed to get into Cobra Commander, Megatron's memory banks, and learn about Cybertron and Cybertronians, and but he states that Galabius will have his army, an army that Cobra Commander himself will lead, and no force in Cobra Law or in any world will be able to stop them. And as he leaves, as Cobra Commander leaves, Megatron smiles. Back in the present, Cobra Commander meets with his Cobra Law escort. Finds they have a long journey ahead of them, but the world will fear the name of Cobra Commander. The issue ends with a rather ominous shot of what appears to be a shack on a bayou shack. On the door is written Dreadnoks. Strong start. I gotta admit, I am thoroughly surprised that Cobra Law being utilized. Cobra Law is, while generally speaking, the opinions of the G.I. Joe movie are fairly positive, Cobra Law is probably one of the more divisive concepts from it. Just because it feels very out of place within the G.I. Joe mythos. So much so that G.I. Joe comic writer Larry Hama doesn't often utilize Cobra Law and concepts and characters just because they don't fit. So, but let's see how the whole thing plays out. It'll be very interesting to see, especially seeing as how the Cobra Commander miniseries will likely be focused mainly on the formation of Cobra, much as I assume the Duke series will be focused on the formation of G.I. Joe. But anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.